we need to cover a little bit more territory. I wanted to tell you guys about a group that I got an email a while back. Yeah, I'm turning to UM Insight again. I got an email from this group talking about Operation Reconquista. If you don't know what the Reconquista was, the Moors, Muslims from North Africa, invaded the southern part of Spain several hundred years ago, and then the Spanish tried to push them back out, reconquest, take their land back. And so there is a group of young people led by a guy, Richard, I was texting him earlier, Richard Ackerman, that want to reconquer all of the mainline denominations in America. They're a wacky bunch. They believe all kinds of other weird political stuff. I've researched some of them. I researched the two guys for the UMC, and the one of them that I could find online is kind of a weird dude. But their whole thing that binds them all together is that they want to push liberalism back out of the denominations. And they do not think much of people like me who got out, because so far as they're concerned, we abandoned all the wealth, all the buildings, all the heritage that was built up for hundreds of years by faithful people. My job was not to run away. My job was to stay and fight. And what they're doing is mobilizing particularly young people, but also welcoming older people, a lot of laity, although some clergy, to work to take their denominations back over. Within the United Methodist Church, they're doing that as well. They sent me a copy of their 95 Theses. They have one of these for every denomination, every mainline denomination. That is really pretty good. I liked a lot of it. It's very bold. You can tell it's written by young people. But this is something that Baptist News Global did that Cynthia Astle just reposted for UM Insight. And it's not a very flattering portrait or sympathetic. They didn't really have anything to point. But Christianity Today talked about it, talked about Richard and who he is and what he's about. Yeah, can I have any smaller writing here? So, really interesting guy. I got to spend some time on the phone with him earlier today because I was going back and forth with Lucas Curcio, Method Ministries. I've done an interview on his channel before, and he's a nice guy. I like his passion, but he was going at the pastor east of me. Names fail me. Who's hosting this Reconstructing Methodism conference in April that I was talking about last week. So he was talking trash about him and about the whole act of reconstructing and the Global Methodist Church. I'm going, where is this coming from? And then he finally starts referring to this Redeemed Zoomer guy, Richard, whose last name I've already forgotten again because my brain is, I'm tired. Richard Ackerman. So Richard Ackerman has been doing stuff online for some time. I meant to have his YouTube pulled up. I don't think this is it. So that's, okay, there are two websites for Operation Reconquista. One is operationreconquista.com, one is redeemedzoomer.com, so that's his personal page. And then they link to this other social media site called, not Rumble, Discord. I have the hardest time. I'm already everywhere, and I'm not on Discord, and that's on purpose. It stresses me out. But here on his website, he explains the whole strategy for what they do. In fact, they have it on the UM Insight article as well. And of course, I switched over and didn't switch back. So this is one of the guys for the United Methodist Church taking it back. Here's this graph. I'm going to see if I can open that. Open image in new tab so you can see that a bit better. How to take over a liberal mainline denomination. It's based on the conviction that liberal congregations shrink and die and conservative ones don't. And so these are conservative congregations that maintain. These are progressive liberal congregations that decline. It's at this point, whenever conservatives have maintained that conservative majorities can force out the progressive leadership. And so what they point to is, look, the Christian job is not to leave when things get tough. It's to stay in and take over whenever things benefit Christ, So keep your, not even just keep your head down, but do holy warfare, and then whenever you can, finally take the reins of power. That's what the liberals and progressives did was they just chinked and chinked away, and then the conservatives just were too nice to do anything about it. They're saying, well, let's stop being nice. Let's just do holy warfare. That's my words for what they're doing. I don't think they talk about holy warfare. The article, the Christianity Today article, does have quotes from Ackerman where he says flat out, we don't do war against flesh and blood. This is just about powers and principalities. This is about forces of darkness, which, I mean, that's the line I try to take as well, and I appreciate. All right. I think we're still live. I get paranoid about this. We're back up to 20 people. I sure am sorry to all of you for the stream clipping out. I'm inclined to think, well, it doesn't matter. Who cares? So anyway, these are guys to keep your eyes on. And then, well, heck, let's go over to, he's got a huge YouTube. So I'm barely up, I'm not even up to 3,000 subscribers. He's been at this a little more than a year. He's up to 234,000 subscribers, which is very impressive. I mean, look at him. He's a baby. You know, he's got to be, I don't know, 21, 22. But he does all these explainers that are really pretty important or pretty good. He doesn't, oh my gosh, did he do that graphic? Oh, cool. I didn't know that. So yeah, he knows a lot of the guys that I know and like, well, I know of them. They don't know me. So he's just done very well. He's navigated the online world pretty well. And so the question now is like, is he going to be able to use this online? Well, it's not just him. The thing is, so this Discord there are thousands of people on this Operation Reconquista Discord. There are, I think they've only been, they have Instagram, which is mostly pictures, but on their Instagram, they've only had an Instagram for the United Methodist Church for 1 month, and they've already got 500 people on there, which is very impressive. That's more than any GMC conference has been able to do. So this is not the same thing as GMC. You know, it's interesting. You'd think we would all be on the same side because we have the same approach to biblical interpretation and history and tradition. But no, there are a lot of people who are of the mind that no, you don't leave, you stay, you duke it out, you win the battle by words and convictions and integrity. And, you know, I have a hard time arguing against that. I'm very sympathetic. Obviously, I left the UMC and I'm a GMC clergy now. I'm very sympathetic with those who chose to leave, saying, hey, we're tired of fighting. You can't win with people who just don't leave and don't honor their agreements. There is no winning with them. And when you talk to me about that, I'm 100% with you. But then whenever I hear these young idealistic guys talk about, no, the witness of the church is you stay, you bear insult and grief, you let them hate on you and malign you and speak evil of you, and you just maintain your righteousness. All of that makes sense to me. And so I don't know. I have infinite sympathy with people on all sides. Isn't that a boring perspective to have? Anyway, keep your eye on these guys. Keep your eye on Redeemed Zoomer in particular. He seems well-balanced and just a good sense of self. I don't know if you ever saw that Lutheran guy that I interviewed, Ryan Turnipseed, but just very smart, very sure about himself. And, of course, a lot of that is age. You know, I mean, you can't help but notice that all these guys are super young, very driven, very like politically oriented. You'll see that they have like political campaigns and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. The tendency of old folks is always, well, you haven't done your time and you don't know what I know, and I fought the fight for a long time and I've done what can be done and you just need to trust me. And there is some wisdom in that. Of course, we should defer to our elders. But also, there's this kind of self-justifying thing that people do that young people are right to question, you know, and so it's of course wrong for young people to say, oh, they were all sellouts and they were all idiots and we're going to get it right. You know, that's naive and full of hubris. But I think it is okay for young people to say, we've got some fight in us and we've got some clarity. And when we talk to you guys, you don't seem so clear. You seem to have other priorities. So we're going to stay and fight. And, you know, I really admired that. So at this point, I want to try and collaborate with them and help them do what needs to be done. Because I've already been talking with people in the United Methodist Church. I want to do a series next year where we go through the legislation that's coming before their general conference, figure out who their delegates are, figure out if they can mobilize against this legislation that would almost certainly cause violence in Africa, like we talked about in the live stream last week. So, yeah, keep your eyes on these guys. I don't know how much these online numbers correspond with real world power or heavenly power. All of this stuff is a mystery to me, but it is interesting to see the mobilization of people who have this kind of clarity.